I'm shocked. This exercise is silently destroying your muscles and leg strength. Roger C. Helt, let's talk about stress. Not the kind that comes and goes after a tough day at work, but the chronic, low-grade, emotionally draining kind that quietly alters your physiology over time. If you're a woman struggling with hormonal acne, chances are your body has been living in a state of internal alarm for far longer than you realize. And the truth is, stress doesn't just mess with your mind. It rewires your hormones, disrupts your skin, and throws your body into chaos, often without you even connecting the dots. Here's how it works. When you're under stress, your brain sends a signal to your adrenal glands telling them to release cortisol, the primary stress hormone. In small, short bursts, cortisol is a survival hero. It sharpens your focus, heightens your senses, and helps you respond to danger. But when cortisol is being produced constantly, day after day, month after month, it begins to interfere with other hormones, especially the sex hormones estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, and that's where the trouble begins. Women's hormonal systems are exquisitely sensitive. They're designed to adapt, to shift during the cycle, to support fertility, to regulate energy, to protect against inflammation. But when cortisol becomes the dominant player, it robs your body of the raw materials it needs to make progesterone and estrogen. This is sometimes referred to as the pregnenolone steal. Your body diverts resources to make more stress hormones and less of everything else. It's like trying to build a house, but using all the bricks for just one wall. The other walls, your menstrual cycle, your skin health, your immune system, start to collapse. And here's what's fascinating. Elevated cortisol can also increase insulin resistance. That means your blood sugar starts to spike and crash more frequently, forcing your pancreas to pump out more insulin. High insulin levels, in turn, stimulate the ovaries to produce more androgens, like testosterone. And as we've already discussed, when testosterone gets a little too high, your skin reacts. Oil production ramps up, pores get clogged, inflammation follows. Suddenly, you're dealing with acne that no amount of topical cream can touch because the root cause isn't on your skin, it's in your endocrine system. This is why women who are juggling careers, caregiving, relationships, and constant emotional labor often feel like their skin is betraying them. But it's not betrayal, it's biology. Your body is adapting the best it can. It's prioritizing survival over beauty. It's asking you gently at first and then more urgently to slow down, to breathe, to heal from the inside out. Now, here's the psychological piece. Stress isn't just a biochemical reaction. It's also a mental habit. We've been conditioned to wear our stress like a badge of honor. We equate being busy with being important, being overwhelmed with being productive. And so we ignore the signs, the fatigue, the irritability, the insomnia, and yes, the acne, until they become chronic, until our body forces us to listen. But what if you started listening now? What if instead of seeing acne as something ugly, you saw it as your body's invitation to realign? What if each breakout was not a flaw, but a flare from your internal compass saying, you've strayed too far from center. Reducing stress isn't about running away from your responsibilities. It's about managing how your body and mind respond to them. It's about setting boundaries, practicing mindfulness, nourishing yourself with food and rest, and most of all, letting go of the guilt that often comes with taking care of yourself. Because guilt is just another form of stress, and it feeds the cycle all over again. When I talk to patients, I remind them that managing stress isn't a luxury. It's a medical necessity. You cannot heal a hormonally driven condition like acne without addressing the stress that fuels it. And here's where things get beautifully simple. Even small changes, 5 minutes of deep breathing a day, a walk in the sun, journaling, laughter, connection, can shift your cortisol curve. They can begin to repair the hormonal dialogue that's been disrupted. The skin, over time, reflects that healing. There's a profound wisdom in your body. It doesn't speak in paragraphs or essays. It speaks in symptoms, in nudges, in patterns. Your job isn't to silence it, it's to translate it. When you do, you begin to understand that stress isn't the villain. Unprocessed stress is, ignored stress is, chronic stress, the kind we normalize, is what throws everything off balance. And once you see that, you can no longer pretend that a face wash alone is the solution. So I leave you with this. If your skin is crying out, ask yourself, where in your life are you holding tension? Where are you saying yes when your body is screaming no? Because healing doesn't start with fighting your body. It starts with listening to it. And often the most powerful medicine isn't found in a pill. It's in your next deep breath. Let's take a moment to look at something we often forget when dealing with hormonal acne, the liver. Yes, that quiet, unassuming organ tucked beneath your ribcage that rarely gets any attention unless there's a major illness. But in the world of hormonal balance, and particularly in the fight against acne, it plays a critical role. Because when the liver isn't doing its job efficiently, your hormones can't either. The liver is your body's chemical processing plant. It filters out toxins, breaks down excess hormones, metabolizes fats, and converts nutrients into usable forms. But its most underestimated job in the context of skin health is hormone detoxification, specifically clearing out used estrogen. You see, every hormone in your body has a life cycle. It gets produced, circulates, performs its function, and then, like any employee after their shift, it needs to be retired. That's the liver's job, to deactivate those spent hormones and help shuttle them out of the body through bile and waste. But here's the catch. In a world where we're exposed to countless environmental toxins, processed foods, plastic packaging, endocrine disrupting chemicals, and even high levels of emotional stress, the liver often gets overwhelmed. It's like asking a factory built for 100 packages a day to suddenly handle 1,000. What happens? Bottlenecks, delays. And in your body, that means hormones that should have been excreted get reabsorbed. Estrogen in particular becomes recirculated in the bloodstream. And that leads to estrogen dominance, a condition where the ratio of estrogen to progesterone becomes unbalanced. And yes, that imbalance can drive breakouts, especially around the chin and jawline. But it doesn't stop there. When the liver is sluggish, other toxins like pollutants, byproducts from gut bacteria, even inflammatory molecules can build up in the bloodstream. And the skin, being the largest detox organ, often steps in to help. That's right, your skin becomes the backup detox channel when the liver and gut aren't keeping up. But the skin isn't designed for that kind of deep filtration. It tries to push toxins out through sweat and oil glands. The result, congestion, inflammation, breakouts. This is why many women who do everything right, eat clean, exercise, even take hormonal birth control, still struggle with acne. The bottleneck isn't in their habits, it's in their detox pathways. So, how do we support the liver without falling into the trap of extreme cleanses or fads? The answer lies in consistent daily support. Your liver thrives on specific nutrients: B, vitamins, magnesium, sulfur-containing foods like garlic and onions, cruciferous vegetables like broccoli and Brussels sprouts, and plenty of clean water. These nutrients help the liver activate key enzymes that break down estrogen safely and move it out of the body. One especially important molecule in this process is glutathione. Think of it as the liver's internal antioxidant system. It binds to toxins, neutralizes them, and helps excrete them. But chronic stress, poor diet, and lack of sleep all deplete glutathione levels. So if you're dealing with acne and your life feels like it's been running on fumes, it's likely your liver is underperforming because it simply doesn't have the tools to keep up. What's equally fascinating is the mind-body connection to liver function. In traditional Chinese medicine, the liver is considered the seat of repressed emotions, especially anger, resentment, and frustration. And if you think about it, isn't that what chronic acne often produces in us? That deep internal frustration, that unspoken feeling that something inside is out of alignment. The liver hears that. It reflects that. So supporting the liver isn't just about food. It's about how we process life, how we let go of what no longer serves us. Because detoxification isn't only physical, it's emotional, it's psychological. And when we ignore that truth, no topical product in the world can fix what the body is trying to resolve from the inside. Now, let's talk for a moment about the role of the gut in this conversation. The liver and gut are deeply interconnected through what's called the enteropathic circulation. When the liver breaks down hormones, it sends them into the bile, which gets dumped into the intestines. But if the gut is sluggish due to constipation, low fiber, or poor microbiome health, those used up hormones can be reabsorbed instead of eliminated. So yes, healthy digestion is a major player in hormonal acne. If you're not going to the bathroom daily, your skin may be telling you what your colon hasn't said aloud. All of this brings us back to a fundamental truth. Clear skin isn't just about the surface, it's about the systems. The liver, the gut, the hormones, and the mind all dance together in a delicate choreography. And when one step is off, the rhythm breaks down. Acne isn't the enemy, it's the signal. It's the body tapping you on the shoulder, asking you to take a deeper look. So here's what I want you to walk away with. Your liver is not a passive filter, it's an active communicator. When it's overloaded, your skin speaks up. Listen to it. Nourish it, support it, because when your liver flows smoothly, so do your hormones. And when your hormones are imbalanced, your skin doesn't just look better. It reflects a life in alignment. Your next act of healing might not be in your skincare routine. It might be on your plate, in your breath, or in your willingness to let go of what's weighing you down. A detox isn't a product, it's a lifestyle, one that begins every single day with respect for the quiet brilliance of your liver. When we talk about hormonal acne, we often focus on estrogen, testosterone, and maybe a little bit of cortisol. But what if I told you there's another powerful player? One that often hides in plain sight, quietly tipping the hormonal scale while we chase treatments that barely scratch the surface. I'm talking about insulin resistance. It doesn't sound glamorous, and it's rarely the first suspect in a breakout mystery. But if you want to get to the root of recurring hormonal acne, especially the kind that resists every cream, peel, or prescription, you can't ignore the role of blood sugar and insulin. Let's start with something simple. Every time you eat, your blood sugar rises. In response, your pancreas releases insulin, a hormone that helps shuttle the sugar into your cells so they can use it for energy. It's a brilliant, life-sustaining system. But over time, especially with frequent intake of refined carbs, sugary snacks, and erratic eating patterns, your body becomes less sensitive to insulin. This is what we call insulin resistance. It's a warning sign not just for diabetes, but for a wide range of hormonal disruptions, including the kind that show up on your face. Now, what does insulin have to do with your skin? More than you think. Insulin doesn't just regulate sugar. It also affects the production of androgens, those male hormones like testosterone that in excess can increase oil production, clog pores, and trigger inflammation. Women with polycystic ovary syndrome, PCOS, for example, often experience both insulin resistance and elevated androgen levels. The result: deep, painful acne along the jawline, chin, and cheeks. And you don't have to be diagnosed with PCOS to be affected. Even subtle insulin imbalances can quietly fan the flames of breakouts. What's more, high insulin levels also reduce the amount of a protein in your blood called sex hormone binding globulin, or HBG. This protein acts like a sponge. It binds up excess hormones and keeps them from running wild. But when insulin is high, HBG drops. That means more free testosterone, more oil production, and more acne. So while we often chase surface treatments and blame our hormones, the real culprit may be hiding in our pantry, in the form of sweetened cereals, white bread, soda, and even so-called healthy snacks that spike blood sugar behind the scenes. The connection doesn't end there. Insulin resistance is also closely tied to inflammation, condition that underpins not just acne, but heart disease, brain fog, and fatigue. When your blood sugar rises too fast and too often, your body responds with low-grade inflammation. And inflammation is like a megaphone for every imbalance in your system. It makes hormonal fluctuations more volatile. It makes your skin more reactive. It slows healing, clogs pores, and creates the perfect storm for persistent acne. Now let me pause here. If you're someone who's tried everything, retinoids, antibiotics, chemical peels, and more, you might be feeling frustrated. I get it. But the answer isn't more force. It's more alignment. You have to work with your body, not against it. And that starts with restoring insulin sensitivity. How do you do that? You start by eating in a way that stabilizes blood sugar. That means whole, unprocessed foods, fiber-rich vegetables, healthy fats, lean proteins, and spacing out meals to give your body time to reset. Regular movement, particularly resistance training, also plays a powerful role in improving how your cells respond to insulin. And quality sleep, it's not optional. Poor sleep raises cortisol, and cortisol raises blood sugar. The cycle feeds itself unless you intervene. But perhaps the most underestimated tool in this process is awareness. Bringing conscious attention to how food makes you feel. Paying attention to energy crashes, sugar cravings, and skin changes. Your body is always communicating. Most of us just haven't been taught how to listen. And because insulin resistance develops gradually, quietly, and often without obvious symptoms, we miss the clues until they show up on our face. There's also a deeper psychological layer here. Our relationship with food, with hunger, with nourishment, it's all emotional. So much of hormonal acne healing involves looking at the patterns we use to soothe ourselves. Late night snacking, stress eating, skipping meals during busy days. These aren't just habits, they're coping mechanisms. And when we heal them, not with judgment, but with curiosity, we start to shift our biology in powerful ways. So this isn't about going on a sugar fast or cutting out every indulgence. It's about reclaiming your hormonal rhythm, supporting your body's natural design, and remembering that acne, frustrating as it is, isn't your enemy. It's your messenger. It's your body saying something's off. Let's bring it back to balance. The power of this shift is profound. When you stabilize your insulin, you don't just calm your skin, you calm your mind, your mood, your energy, and your hormones. You create space for healing from the inside out. And that's the deeper invitation here. Not just clearer skin, but a clearer connection with your body. One that honors its intelligence, respects its rhythms, and listens when it speaks. Because sometimes the most beautiful transformation doesn't happen on your skin. It starts in your blood sugar, in your breath, and in your willingness to change the story.